Hi everyone. My name is Manish, and people usually call me Manny. Am I audible to everyone? Harita, Pawan, Prakash, anyone can confirm, either in message or if you can speak. Okay, I got the confirmation from Prakash and Pawan as well. Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, so we are going to start this course, and that is Azure Administration or Azure Administrator course AZ104. Okay, so before we start the course, let me introduce myself. I'm going to share my screen and I'll put a content on that. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So that's my profile basically. So I have more than 14 years of experience. I worked with the different organizations in past, multiple multinational companies like HCL, IBM, Fujitsu, Edison, and Wipro. My key skills, are Azure Cloud, DevOps, Terraform, Windows administration, the cloud migration, and the AKS as well. So these are the highlight of my key skills, and I have conducted multiple workshops, webinars, and trainings, basically, for many professionals as well as individuals as well as group of professionals. As I told, like friend called me Manny, and these are the certification lists. So the like AZ104, 305, 700, 500. So these or most of these certifications belongs to the Microsoft Azure technology or Azure cloud service. And other than that, I have Terraform as well. Okay, so this is the snapshot of my profile, like what are the experience and expertise I have. Before we start, okay, I just need to understand something from you guys as well, just to understand like what you guys are looking for out of this training, and what is the purpose of doing this training. Okay, so is it okay if we can just start one by one, and just to understand like what is your current expertise and what is your expectation out of this training. So that's the AZ104 course content which we are going to cover. So at the first, module, we are going to talk about the basics, because without building the basics in the Azure cloud, it is not very much effective if we can start directly from the complex topics. So first few days, most probably 1 or 2 days, we are going to spend some time to learn like what is Azure cloud and how is it different from the different other cloud providers like AWS or Google Cloud or Oracle Cloud or Alibaba Cloud, right? And then we are also going to understand how to set up a lab environment. Basically, in Azure cloud, since the cloud has come, so setting up the lab is has become quite easy thing. So all you just need to set up your portal, and you are done. So I'll show you guys how to set up the portal and how to start working on the Azure. Okay, we'll also discuss how to set up the portal for a month. 1 month, Microsoft provides a month of free trial. So we also see how we can activate that free trial. Once we cover the basics of the Azure cloud and the login setup and everything, then we are going to start the introduction of the resources, like how the resources are managed or set up in the Azure data center. We are going to understand the data center architecture, like because see, if we say it's cloud, but we have to understand at the bottom, at the end, there is some physical device which is basically serving us. So of course we are not managing those devices, we are not managing those data centers, we are not managing the networking and the hardware equipments. But just to have an idea like how these things are have been set up by the Microsoft is a good basically it gives a good visibility, and it improves our logical understanding towards the cloud infrastructure. So we are going to look into those things as well. And then basically from the part chapter 3, the practical basically starts. Then we are going to learn how to create a virtual machine, and we will learn Windows virtual machine and the Linux virtual machine. Then we'll understand the concept of high availability, like if how to set up the environment if something goes down. Then, so for example, you must have heard like, okay, if my application is running on one machine, then how I'm going to ensure that if that machine is going down, then my application should not stop working. So that is how we are going to configure the high availability, so that if anything, one machine goes down or one application goes down, then how the other set of the machine on application should start serving the application. And then we also going to at the last of this module, we are going to learn how to host a website in Azure virtual machine using IaaS and the Nginx web hosting platforms as well. Because when it comes to Azure, so one thing we you need to be very clear, guys. The way we work today, basically, I'm talking about the on-premises. Okay, things works little different as we are as it is working in the cloud. So we need to understand, basically, since the introduction or since the evolution of the cloud, most of the applications, most of the softwares basically have adapted the web model. So you must have seen in your personal day-to-day life as well, most of the things basically have the applications, a app which is either running on mobile or it has a website. So basically website is actually nothing, it's just a software application. So in previous days or in earlier days, if you guys remember, for just taking an example of a laptop, so if you take if you would like to watch a movie on your laptop or listen a music on your laptop, then you are simply going to install a media player, for example VLC media player. So I'm not sure if you have heard this name or not, but it's a VLC media player. In the same way, if I would like to see some videos or see some watch some application, watch some songs, then in my mobile I'm going to use some sort of application which can help me to view the videos, right? But this is the traditional way, right? Now things have been moved towards the web, or basically the online way. And whenever we heard something, somebody saying like, okay, online, it is going to be online or it is online, then they basically in technical terms they are basically trying to say like there is a website to do there is a website for this task, or there is an application or mobile app to do this task. So right now everything is a web. Even the Word, Excel, PowerPoint is also a web version. So if let's say in my laptop I have installed the MS Word, but I would like I don't want to I don't want to install a MS Word. I would like to simply open a browser. I would like to type Word, and then if I would like to continue from there, then I can do that. So basically the revolution or the change happens in terms of application. Earlier things were used to install on the different machine or different platforms. Now everything is trying to go to the web. Like, let's not install anything, let's use everything on an online basis. So this is why we need to understand this particular topic. Then we will move towards the networking, like what are the different networks we have networking. Because networking is something, when we are talking about the everything online, then networking is one of the critical thing to understand. Because you can simply heard in your day-to-day life as well. For example, you are visiting a bank or maybe a railway station or maybe somewhere else, and you must have heard saying, okay, the link is not working or the server is not working. The employees who work in those offices, basically they don't know, right? So you must have faced this situation, like you visited bank and they say, okay, link is not working or server is not working. So basically it's not link or server, it's basically the network which is creating the problem. So we need to understand how the network is being set up. So for example, because you are not going to work for a government organization, so I'm not saying like you can work, but I'm saying like the government IT infrastructure is completely different. But yes, you are going to work for different multiple organizations. For example, somebody is going to work in HCL, somebody is IBM, somebody is in different Infosys and other. So these companies basically have their own setup of the network, and how those networks have been set up in cloud. We are going to understand that part. So first I will explain you about the networking, like how it looks like in a day-to-day life, and then how it looks like into the cloud. So these are the things we are going to cover into this particular topic. All the networking, like how the single network is going to work when we have multiple network and we would like all those networks to communicate with each other, then what we are going to do, that we are going to cover into this particular section. Fourth section talks about, again it is related to the network, but I have segregated this based on the requirement. So this fourth section is basically deals with the VPN. You must have heard the word VPN very much. So for example, if you are working on a remote location, so for example you are at your hometown and you have only internet, and you have a requirement, or your organization wants you to log in into the company's network, or the client for which you are working into their network. So there must be some sort of arrangement, because over the internet you cannot access everything. So if your organization has a application which runs only from your organization's laptop or from your organization's network, then you cannot access to that application by sitting at your home. So what you need to do, you need a mechanism so that you can connect your laptop to the company's network. And that is where the VPN, the concept of VPN comes into the picture. So we are going to configure the VPN. So if my organization's infrastructure and network is set up in Azure, then how I'm going to set up a VPN so that anybody can, from anywhere in the world can log in or can connect to my Azure networking. This is what we are going to cover in this particular section. The next module which we are going to say is the security. So security is very important because there are n number of incidents you must have heard. I know, like, okay, ransomware, malware, lot of things are happening. So still the most the threat to any organization is the network. If you would like to hack any organization, then you need to get into their network first. So network is basically the first point where any hacker would like to get inside it. And once you are inside the network, then you can, again, based on your what kind of skill you have in the hacking skills, you can make the impact. But network is something you must need to first invasion. So till the time you cannot get inside the network, you cannot do anything. So that is why it is really important to understand how we are going to secure our network, how we are going to understand the traffic flow, what is inbound flow and what is outbound flow, how to restrict that. So these are the things we are going to cover into this particular module. Then we have another module, and this module is also pretty much related to the network. So that is why I always say module 3, 4, 5 and 6. Basically these are the networking modules. So in this module, and I have categorized it again based on the work. So in this module we are going to talk about the load balancing. So load balancing is also critical component. So till this if I simply explain this, till this point, first we understand what is network, then we understand how to establish the connection with the network we set up, then we secure the network. And now everything is done, then it is important to manage the network traffic as well, because it is just like you created your network, you let everybody know, like, okay, this is the network, you need to come, and you secure the network. Okay, so just think as an example of you created a highway or the expressway. So first you created an expressway or highway, then you let everybody know, like, okay guys, this is the expressway which will take you from this source to this destination, or from this point to this point. And then you guys started working, people have started walking and driving on that highway. Then you also need to secure the highway. So you put the security as well. Now you need to manage the traffic. So a lot of people are coming into that particular are going to walk and drive and ride on that particular highway. Then you must need some sort of mechanism to manage. What if more than expected person come at a one time? Then how we are going to manage that? What if the people are coming from multiple directions directly to a common point, and they would like to they are their paths are getting intersect? Then how we are going to manage the traffic? So just we are going to set up a traffic light, and we are going to say, okay, you will go first, then you wait for some time, then another will go first and wait for some time. So this is where we are going to do the load balancing. So when the traffic is started coming to our applications or the network which we have created, then how we are going to manage the load? That is the concept which we need to learn and understand in this module. Then we'll talk about after completing, so this will basically complete our networking background. Then we'll discuss about the storage, because storage is again a very important piece of technology we need to understand. And why it is important? Because for any organization, no matter what organization in this world, the actually everyone is talking about the data. You must have heard many people say that data is the new fuel. So basically data is, nobody would like to compromise. So it's okay, like we have the network, it's okay, we have a lot of infrastructure, fine. But actually the work is going to happen on the data only. If the data is not available, if the files are not available, then there is no work. It's okay, like I have a very secure network, but if there is no data, there is no work. So how to securely store the data, how to retrieve the data, because storing data is one job, retrieving the data is another job. So that is what we are going to learn in this particular module, which is called storage. Like how we are going to store our data, how we are going to manage the data we have stored, how we can ensure, like if somebody deletes that stored data, whatever the data we have stored, then how we can recover it, or how we can put a secure parameters, like nobody should know. Okay. Also one more thing, since we are storing the data, it is fine, but we also need to ensure like nobody else should come, and not everyone is going to access the data, because data is a very critical, it's a key thing. So I don't want anyone to get into my storage and get the data access on this data. So this is what we are going to learn in the module 8. We are going to learn about whatever the data we have stored here, because this module talks about how you are going to store the data, how you are going to secure the data, and how are you going to access the data and ingest the data, which is fine. But let's say even due to any reason anything goes wrong, and if the data is not available to you, or somebody deletes that data, or data gets deleted due to any reason, okay, then in that situation, how we are going to deal with that situation? So we are going to take a help of the concept of the backup. Like, okay, we have multiple virtual machines, we have multiple applications, so we are taking backup of every day, every month, every week. It completely depends on the requirement, like how you are going to set up. But you, or as an administrator, your understanding, you should basically need to know how to take the backup, how to restore the data from the backup. So if anything goes down, or if anything is not working, or if anything gets deleted, then how we can restore the infrastructure, restore the data, so that I can start working again. So that is how that is what we are going to learn in the backup section. Then we are going to talk about the module 9, and this is the module which I would say this is the basics of the microservices. So you must have heard about the words AKS, Docker, or microservices. Okay, so basically things, as I told you guys, things have basically changed since the evolution of cloud. So this is the new evolution even in the cloud. So earlier, in earlier days, we used to have our different servers, and on those different servers we used to have our different applications. Now from that stage we move into the cloud, and we don't have basically physical servers, we don't manage the hardware, which is fine. But there is one more step which the world has moved, and that is called microservices. So microservices is basically a approach how we are going to host our application. So as of now, just in simple way, if I can explain you, like in there are two ways to host the application: monolithic and microservices. So monolithic says in one server you are going to host one application. Microservice says in one server I am going to host multiple applications. And how we are going to do that? We are going to help the container. So that is what we are going to learn. Of course, I'm not saying like because these topics are itself a course. If I simply talk about the Docker and AKS, they itself are a very long course, because we need to learn a lot of complex things in terms of Docker and AKS. However, just to start with, or for this course, we do not need to get into the detail, because this will unnecessarily drag the content. So if you would like to learn AKS and Docker, we have a different course. You can connect with the Visualpath. So that's, but however, again, if you are a basic, if you are going to start your cloud learning journey in the Azure, then I would not suggest to go directly and start learning the Docker and AKS. I'm telling you, you will not understand much. I'm not saying like you cannot understand, but without having the basic understanding, especially the understanding of these topics, which I have explained earlier, all these topics. If you are trying to go and directly learn the microservices, then it will be a different. So that is why I kept it very last. So I am going to explain to you the basics of the Docker and the AKS, where I'm going to explain how the microservices looks like, what are the differences, and I'm also going to show you how to host the Docker and the AKS. But yes, after hosting the Docker and AKS, there are n number of complex activities which are supposed to do, and that is why I'm telling you, we are only going to cover the basic as a part of this course, not the complete complex course. Then in the module 10, and the next module is talking about the monitoring. So monitoring is basically nothing. So you, let's say if you have a infrastructure in your organization. So for example, if a virtual machine or if a server is basically going down again and again, every 30 minutes the server is automatically shutting down. So you are not going to log in into the console, and you cannot keep your eye, or you cannot paste your eye like, okay, now I'm going to watch like this. No, there should be some mechanism which should basically alert you. If something goes wrong, then I should get an alert like, okay boss, the machine is not machine is getting rebooted, or the machine is not working fine, or even the application which you have hosted on those machines, if they are not working. Then instead of, there are two kinds of monitoring. One is proactive monitoring, which is which I know, okay, I know this, there is a problem with the server, or there is a problem with the application. So every day in the morning before the business starts, at 6 o'clock I'm going to restart the machine. That is fine. That is something called proactive, because I know. But what about those events or incidents which you don't know, the unplanned incidents, the unplanned changes happen in your organization? Then you should have a mechanism in place, some sort of arrangement in place, like if anything goes wrong in your organization, especially infrastructure, then you should get alert like, okay, something is not working as expected, so please go and look into this. So that is what we are going to learn in this section, to set up different monitorings. Okay, then here the next two modules are basically deals with the user ID and the management group. So basically user ID is, again, you must have heard the word AD or the intra ID. Okay, so AD and intra ID are a very detailed topic in itself. Okay, but again, as a part of this course, we are going to cover the basics one. If you would like to, let's say there is a if you would like to understand the complete AD environment, then of course AD is a complex subject. But in this AD topic, we are going to learn how to manage the users and groups, because in your organization, even in your team, multiple people are going to work on different servers or different applications. Then how are you going to ensure like those users have the correct permission? How are you going to ensure those users need to log into for example, if there is a finance application, and for example there is a HR application, so I don't want HR person to log in into my finance application, or I don't want any finance person to log in into my HR application. So how I'm going to manage the resources, manage the users? uh, this is what we are going to learn. So we are going to learn like how we are going to create the users, how we are going to assign the roles according to their requirement, and how we are going to enable some multi-factor authentication and all. So we are going to cover that. But again, let me tell you, to be very honest, this AD is a very detailed and complex topic. One more time. So once you have all the understanding, and if you are going to if you are interested to work in Azure AD or Entra ID or on-premises AD, then basically it comes under the concept of identity and access management. So identity and access management itself is a very huge topic, because there are n number of things to do inside this. So if you would like to do that, then you can absolutely go ahead and do that. Okay, then lastly, we are going to talk about the policy and the initiative. So policy is actually very, it's not a big deal, but it's most related to the business. So for example, if in your organization, if I would like to say, like, nobody should be able to create any virtual machine inside, for example, West Europe, just a region. Okay. Or I would like to say, like, okay, nobody in my organization should be able to use the public IP, because public IP is a costly affair. If you use a public IP, you have to pay for that. So policy is basically a kind of business decision which is being taken by the business people. And if that is going to be implemented technically, if there is, because not everything you are going to deploy by using the policy. So policy is a business decision, and we have a limited policies as well. We are not saying like every business decision is going to be created by the policy. So policy is basically a organization wide decisions or business decision if we can implement. So for example, I don't want anyone to log in, I want only 10 people to log into my Azure portal, not everyone. So it's a business decision. So if there is a business decision, and if it is something which we can implement by using the policy to the entire organization, then we are going to understand and learn from there. So I'll show you the few examples of the Azure policy and how we do that. But again, we have to explore based on the business decision which is going to be taken. So this ends our course. Basically, once we will complete all this topics, basically this puts an end to our course. Although these are the contents which I focus to explain you guys, but out of these contents, let's say during our classes as well, if there is something new gets introduced, if there is, because cloud is a very changing environment. So today maybe you are learning the cloud, and just taking an example, today you are learning how to create a virtual machine, and you are seeing like you to create a virtual machine, you have 10 different options to fill, right? Maybe tomorrow, or maybe after 6 months, or 2 months, when again you are going to create a virtual machine, you will find something will get changed, because Microsoft keeps changing a lot in portal. There are a lot of options which they are keep revamping, keep reorganizing here. So might be you are so for example, as I'm right now, I'm using the Word, and you can see all these menus are coming at the top. Might be Microsoft will start getting, so no, these menus are going to be at the right hand side, not at the top. So they will move it here like this. Or maybe you can see in this home option, I have these many options. Maybe Microsoft will change the look and feel and say, okay, these heading things will create another menu, and will put a heading, and will put these options inside that. So portal is keeps changing, but no worries. If anything new comes, then during our class we will keep introducing and keep discussing on those points as well. And whatever your doubts, let's say you heard something from, while in the training, if you come to know about a new concept which is related to what you are learning, okay, then we are also trying to answer that and understand that what if you have heard something which is related to the training which we are doing, then we are going to understand and answer that as well. So that's all about the content we have, and the training which we are going through, what we are going to learn. So that's all from my end. And yes, one last request, guys. See, guys, I'm telling from my experience, consistency is really important. So I don't think it's a very secret that you guys don't know. You guys all are professionals, so you all simply understand the importance of the consistency. So many times what I see, like okay, we started the class, and absolutely the course is going to be recorded. That's not an issue. We have the recorded options. Sometimes our we have our challenges. Sometimes we are facing the issue with the power supply, sometimes we face issue with the internet, or sometimes we have some other jobs to do, which is absolutely fine. That's not an issue. But still, I would suggest, if you have started this course, then try to be consistent in the course, so that it's not about the time, but it's about your learning. So if we explain, if I explain you a few topics today, and let's say in the next 2 3 days you guys are not available, or anyone is not available, then if you are going to come, then you will think, okay, there is a recording, I will go and watch the recording, and then I'll start watching them. Then if of course you have the recording, you can go and watch, that's not an issue. But again, I would say, in my experience, the best learning, the best outcome you get with the consistently joining the classes. If you're consistently joining the class, you will get the best result out of this training. And since you guys are spending your time to learn these things, then in my view, you guys should get most of it from the training. Okay, so that's just a request. Rest, that's all from my end for today demo session. So it's up to you guys.